you check the children. Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
The Wolfman.
And we are here to record a couple of reviews tonight. The first one being for a movie I was actually very much anticipating. We both were after watching the trailer for a trailer reaction roundup recently. And this is for a movie called Infested, which is now available on Shudder. I thought this was going to be coming to the theater, but no, it's a Shudder release, and I'm fine with that because I love good horror movies that are released on a platform I'm already paying for.
No, that's fair. Yeah,
that's free to me.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, realistically, Shudder's like $7 a month. If you divide out the number of movies I watch per month, it's really only costing me like $2 to $4 per movie I watch. That's totally fair for me. Especially when it's in the case like this, where it's Infested, which is a French horror movie that has made it over. What I like about foreign horror nowadays is that usually the ones we get that are advertised or released on these platforms are worth watching at least once. You know what I mean?
Very true.
And this one is no exception. So for me, doing our overall thoughts, which is how we always start our reviews, I'm going to say I enjoyed this film. Overall, I did. I do think it ended up being 15, 20 minutes too long. But, you know, it clocked in at about an hour and 45 minutes. That still ended up being about 15 minutes too long. But it was still an enjoyable ride for most of that runtime. So I had a good time with it. The effects, obviously, were very CG, but it wasn't like noticeable CG. It's only CG because you know that there's no way they had all of these spiders do everything they needed them to do when they needed them to do them.
Very, very true.
So that's my overall thoughts.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll get into that like when we get to the
Of course, yeah, that's the overall though for me.
Exactly.
You guys like this new Horror Show shirt, by the way? This is available on our TeePublic in the link down below.
You like that? You like that? Yeah. Made by me.
It doesn't come with the man boobs. So, all right.
Anyways, on to the next. All right, so my overall thoughts for this is I had a lot of fun with this. This was a very quick, fast, kind of in-your-face creature feature. And the cool thing is the approach of what they did with the spiders, I thought was kind of new, and it was creepy, especially for those that have the arachnophobia and the fear of like any bugs or crawling little things.
That's the one thing I did forget to say. It's an amped up arachnophobia.
Absolutely. No, this really is. And again, this is being a foreign French film, and I've said this before in other reviews, is the foreign horror has been killing it, pun intended, in the movie division lately. They really have been. Like,
at least the ones we've been seeing.
Yes,
that's the nice thing. The bad ones don't make it over.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
The worthwhile ones have been getting over across the pond to us and everything, and I'm totally about that. The Korean horror especially has been kicking ass.
It's been popping off.
The French horror, though, for those
French horror has been here for a while.
They have, but
high tension.
But for the
frontiers, you know what I mean?
That's the thing, though, is they're not.
Dude, some horror fans just cream their jeans with those two drops. By the way,
that's fine. They can clean themselves up. But they're not as prevalent as what they necessarily should be, because again, it's only really the worthwhile ones that are making it over. So this being that one, I am extremely happy it did. And the fact, again, like what you were saying earlier, is what we were able to see it on Shudder. Even though, this actually would have been pretty worthwhile seeing it in the theater.
Yeah, I think they would have made money if they had put it in the theater. Like if they did, like Shudder kind of missed the boat on this. They could have very much done what they did with When Evil Lurks, and then they did that with another movie recently that came out that hit Shudder, the Late Night with the Devil. That was another limited theatrical release.
Fair.
I think this could have easily been a limited theatrical release, and people would have seen it for sure.
Absolutely.
I would have loved to have seen this in the theater.
Wrapping up real quick though. No, you're good. My overall thoughts is I absolutely had a blast with this, and I totally recommend this for anyone who's a creature feature or even a fan of arachnophobia. If you guys know what movie we're talking about.
Yeah. So that's the overall thoughts. This is basically an amped up arachnophobia. If that's all you need in order to watch the movie, more power to you. Thanks for stopping by. We got your view. We appreciate it. But for those of you that are interested in a further breakdown, here we go. So the story is simply about a apartment building that runs afoul of a particular spider species that we are introduced to at the very beginning of the film. There's we're somewhere in the Middle East, it appears, and there are this little group. There's a small group of men that are.
Well, don't give away too much.
Right. Well, they're out hunting, and they okay. Fair enough.
No.
So basically, the film starts off about we find out how this particular spider makes its way into the place where the rest of the movie takes place, which is an apartment building, or it's an apartment building essentially in France. And it centers around this ne'er-do-well, so to speak, that is dealing in things he shouldn't be dealing in, and he makes a deal that he shouldn't make, a la Gremlins, right? And he brings a eight-legged mogwai into the building, and it then goes forth and multiplies at a rapid pace, and then the apartment building and all of the residents, which we meet along the way, are now in danger of these very fast, very deadly, very quickly multiplying spiders.
Yes.
That is the long and short of the story without giving anything away. Right?
Trying not to give anything
away.
Yeah.
Well, it's a setup. It happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Well, it basically is. Yeah, a French apartment building is overwhelmed and swarmed by a mass group of deadly spiders.
Okay, that's the even more succinct breakdown. Fair enough. So story-wise, what did it do for you?
Story-wise, this was, again, it knew what it was, and it didn't necessarily overstay its welcome, but like what was mentioned earlier is, the runtime, where the story and the runtime kind of went hand in hand with, it could have been chopped down a little bit. There are definitely some times where it drug on a little too much with some expositions and things like that. But other than that, it was a good, solid, fast, in-your-face pace. So no, I definitely enjoyed this. This was a fun, original creature movie.
Legitimate arachnophobes will have a trouble with this movie. If they made a movie like this but snakes, you would not have enjoyed it.
Oh fuck no! I will. That's the thing, as I would have, but I would have been like the whole time. But again,
definitely that'll happen to arachnophobes because it's not like Sting, right? This is essentially. We went back to the 90s era of filmmaking where we have Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had a couple of different movies that are the same plot but different stories.
Yep.
And so we had Sting recently, which was a spider in an apartment building. But that was basically a giant spider and or a spider that grew to gigantic proportions that could whistle.
This isn't eight-legged freaks.
No, this is not that. But some of the spiders do get pretty goddamn big.
Yeah, but they look
good. Yeah, they look good. They look like real big ass spiders, not like CG big ass spiders. Even though they have to be CG. Like your brain has to do a little bit of that gymnastics.
That's true.
Let's be realistic.
But their attention.
But if you can buy into it,
their attention to detail with even just the small hair fibers on their leg.
Yes.
In one particular scene, especially. It was actually nearing the end during when one gets caught in the headlights.
Yeah, right.
So we got a great view of one of the spiders, and you could see all the nice little detail, but all the other ones that they were showing were well placed with that mixture of colored lighting, that dim light with the dark. And it was played off very well.
It allows CG to flourish because you can get away with a lot.
Exactly. And that's really how CG should be implemented versus that over the top, in your face, and just mass lighting, and it looks like garbage.
So the story played out fine for me too. Like, I enjoyed it. Again, it was a bit long-winded at times, and I do think they could have shaved another 15 minutes off of it. But overall, the story played out interestingly. I mean, it basically becomes Wreck or The Raid, where the apartment building gets locked down and no one can escape, and so they have to figure out what to do, try and find a method of escape. And it doesn't necessarily go great for them throughout the film.
True.
So I enjoyed the story, and but since we've already been touching on it, let's just jump straight to the effects, right?
Yep.
So there's a lot of CG spider effects, but again, it's presented so well that you're not focused on that. You're just focused on the fact that there's a shit ton of spiders, and it's unnerving, and it looks real enough for me, at least. So I didn't have those issues. And then there were practical effects when you saw the after effects of spider bites and stuff like that. So they mixed them well.
That's true.
And I appreciated the effects for that reason.
Absolutely. And that's, again, like going back to what I was saying a little bit ago, is this is that good balance of CGI and like the practical effects aspects. They didn't overhand too much. And again, they utilized their lighting well. The major wounds and effects that we did see were grotesque. They were the effects from these spiders.
Not fun.
No, you legitimately were like, oh, you're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna feel that in the morning, pal. I absolutely applaud when movies do stuff like this. This is my favorite type of creature effects. And effects used with creature movies.
Now, I do want to hit on the filmmaking as well, right? Because there was a lot of really cool cinematography in this, stuff that you even pointed out during the film. You're like, oh, that's a cool shot. I pointed out a couple shots that were a cool shot. Like, so they really focused on the presentation of the film, and it really helped to sell. Like, there's one shot where they open a door and they look down a hallway that is not very welcoming, and the camera just backs up and does this full rotation all the way back
like
down the hallway. It's so fucking cool. Yeah. So I really appreciated the actual filmmaking, the sound design, all of that was great. Like it's again, if you can buy into the CG and just let your brain not pick it apart the entire movie, then you're gonna really have a good, thrilling time at the theater. You know, or at home rather.
True. Yeah. No. This is exactly, again. This movie knows what it is. It's not trying to be ridiculously deep in its story or like messages and crap like that. It's a spider
thrill.
Yeah, it's a spider monster movie.
Acting wise, though.
But acting wise, no. This movie was fantastic. But I do want to touch real quick on like the filming and like the set stuff.
Yeah, please, by all means.
So this was filmed in I want to say it was Noise of the Grange, just outside of Paris. And this was a 3-month shoot actually from January to March of 2022.
Okay.
So not a very long shoot.
No.
So I'm actually curious on, especially the interior shots, because a lot of the exterior obviously was that apartment building, the actual apartment building that's outside of Paris.
They definitely built some sets for this. Yeah.
I think so too, but I want to know like how much was kind of utilized from the actual interior of the rundown French apartment buildings. But no, it looked great, especially when going back to that hallway scene. That was unnerving, and even me not being one of like, spiders have never really bothered me too much, but if I had to go through what those people went through on that, I probably would have had a heart attack and shit myself at the same time. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. But like there was also the implementations of like the lights. What they had figured out was smart.
Yeah. Well, you're touching on the production design as well.
That's true.
So that the entire design of all of the rooms, the apartment building itself, all the sets, all the vents that we get throughout the film and stuff like that, all of that had to be designed, and it was very well done.
It was.
Very well done.
Absolutely.
So this is an accomplished film. Even though it drags a bit, even though it's 15, 20 minutes longer than it should, I still think it's very much worth your time to visit, especially if you're already paying for a Shudder subscription. But to me, even if you're not paying for a Shudder subscription, it costs $7 per month, or $7 a month, or something like that. Pay for 1 month, $7. It's half of what one movie ticket costs nowadays, and then you get access to this and everything else that's on Shudder right now. So that's the way I look at it. I think it's very much worth your time. So,
not to mention they have a hell of a catalog, and we're not sponsored by Shudder. We just really like the app.
That'd be nice though, Shudder.
Yeah,
hit us up. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We're going to be back very soon with our review of Lowlifes. That's been getting a lot of buzz very recently. So we'll be back soon to talk about that. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird,
Robert Wolfman,
and remember, stay scared.